Yes, yes. It is Monday. We are live. Welcome, Cody.
Thanks for having me again. It is always fun to be on with you, Ryan. I feel like we always riff really, really well. We're just a couple of guys talking Etsy, talking POD, talking printables, talking all those
Talking
digital
money,
products,
man. Your
talking
social
money.
media game is really good too. I always respect when somebody actually like does a good job with their social media. Basically the opposite of mine. Your stuff is always like eye catchy, and I'm like, oh, it's entrepreneurial, and just wanted to say good job.
Appreciate it. Well, I like what you do because you just are so raw with the numbers. You're posting your sales every single day. Not a lot of people can say the same. So kudos to
Yeah.
you as well.
Well, I need to be better about taking pictures. Like I literally try to send a photo out with my newsletter every Monday of just something I did in the last week or weekend, and I'm like,
You just don't. Yeah.
well, I just like I look at my photos, I'm like, I have none. So yeah, I
Too
don't know,
busy
man.
grinding, man.
Yeah, I saw you work out too. Like I literally sent a picture of a workout that we did over the weekend, but it was a good one. It was like 80 degrees outside, and I don't know, man. It was just like brutal. You know, and it was one of those where you make you hate your life for a while. And I was like, I'll send a picture. I was like, we'll take a picture first, so I have one to send.
There you go.
That'll be it.
There you go. You got to use whatever ammo you got. But yeah, let's talk digital products. Let's talk printables. I know it seems to be a topic that your audience really enjoys. I know people are probably hopping in live now, and so I want to welcome people to ask whatever questions they might have because it seems like every time we've been on before, like people are like, "Oh, I didn't even know this existed." Like I've just been doing POD, or maybe they're just in some other space in the online. They're doing FBA, maybe they're doing affiliate marketing, they're doing something else. They just haven't really dove into like the digital products printables world before.
Yeah, no, I love that, and it's something that like until you're introduced to the idea, I don't think most people even consider it. Like consider selling printables on Etsy, and you might have a whole new potential audience because if you caught my video earlier talking about Amazon merch, which is near and dear to my heart, it's how I got started with print on demand, doing some tiered downs. So there's going to be some people that maybe were projecting to make X amount and now have to add something else to get there. You know what I mean? So maybe it's this.
Yep, you don't own the platforms, but the good things about Amazons and the Etsy's of the world is that they do bring customers to your door, which is great. Which is why I'm a huge fan of using those. And then you can branch out later on, like you can start to expand beyond Etsy, beyond Amazon. But getting those and starting with those is like one of the it's what I recommend to most people. I know you're the same way, Ryan. It's just like such a
Yep.
good testing ground for new products because you don't have to drum up an audience yourself. You don't need a social following. You don't need to be good at SEO. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need to understand like how to kind of work the search bar and create stuff that people are looking for.
Dude, I like that. How to work the search bar. That's good. I like that.
Trademark. No, I'm just messing. But yeah, I actually want to ask you because I know you do all sorts of things. You do so much with just every type of product. Did you have a huge Father's Day boom in your shops?
So I didn't like specifically target Father's Day just because like I'm just doing like evergreens. That's my thing. And I honestly call it like fringe evergreens, where it's like something that can sell once a year. Give me $5 to whatever $8 profit and I'll be good. But of course, I saw an uptick. Honestly, I sell a lot of embroidered hats, and I would say that's where I probably saw the biggest uptick.
Okay, because
How about you?
I remember when you were on my podcast and we were chatting, you were just spitballing some ideas. We were recording this in May, and I think some of them were like, world's like okayest, or like something the world's okayest dads are born in May, or like a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff like that. You were giving a bunch of ideas. I didn't know if you actually capitalized on those and put those in your shop. But the reason I bring it up is because I had some products do pretty well. And I was like, oh, I'm pretty happy with these results. We had some people in our community in our course who did like hundreds of sales over the weekend, who are like kind of new to Etsy. Like one woman went from 5 sales to I think 270 over Father's Day weekend, which was just amazing to see. And even if it's a couple bucks per printable, like there you go. Like, you know what I mean? She went
No,
from
and then you're
earning
hooked.
nothing to
You're hooked at that
multiple
point.
$100s. You're hooked. It's game over. That's how it happened to me. But yeah, man, it was cool. We saw a lot of like funny Father's Day cards, a lot of like really creative, funny ones. There was some Father's Day like gift tags, like almost like you print out like a sheet of 8 or 10, and it's like one coupon, like mow the lawn, or like stuff like that, like little cute stuff that comes
I
from
love
the
that, dude.
kids or the wife. There's a lot of random stuff like that did really well in the printable world.
Yeah, Patty had asked about like in general niches. She said coming up, but it's good just to kind of set the expectation talking about Father's Day as it just passed, you know what I mean? So now you can talk a little bit about what worked, and we're a year away from it mattering.
Exactly. And people might not think, oh, Father's Day, like that's going to be such a huge holiday. But like I said, there's people making 250 sales, new Etsy sellers who just happen to hit the right keyword. So the reason I bring this up, the reason I was asking you is because you're right. Like Father's Day's passed, but it's a great example to talk about what types of products worked, because now there's so many more throughout the rest of the year. Like graduation's also happening kind of right now. Like college graduation already happened, but like some high school and like elementary school. I know my business partner Julie, her daughter just graduated kindergarten. There's printables for that. There's digital products for that. There's just stuff as you move out through the entire year. Like 4th of July is coming up. There's a bunch of 4th of July printables. Like one that has sold in my shop before is like it's like a cupcake topper, and you can do like little custom ones, and you literally just stick them in the cupcake. And you can put someone's name on it. You could put like whatever words you want. I have like an editable version and a non-editable version. I mean, and then you just go through the year, and there's literally, this holidays, there's events every single month. And I've talked about this at length with you, Ryan, but if you could just do this for 1 year, I know that sounds like a big commitment, but you do this for 1 year, now you have seasonal products to sell every single month over and over and over. So similar to what you're saying, Ryan, you're like, dude, I just want evergreen product that will sell like once or twice a year, $5-8. I'm like the same way, but my stuff just sells at a specific time during the year. So I have all these like buckets of seasonal printables, and the stuff that's popular in October might not sell at all for the rest of the year. But when it's October, when Halloween rolls around, when Christmas rolls around, when Valentine's Day rolls around, the products that I made specifically for that thing just go gangbusters. So it's kind of a similar mindset, I guess, to you, except I make certain products make me a lot of money in certain months, and then they make me essentially nothing for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And I appreciate you giving the insights as well about how it kind of works for you. And I mean, I'm sure there's different ways to go about it. It just reminds me, I was looking at my wife, Marielle, her merch account this morning, and like, she was so mad when I uploaded all these stupid t-shirts, Halloween themed. And I literally just had ChatGPT make a list of things that were certain colors that matched the shirt. So I'd do only green shirts, and it would just be green things, and then only blue, etc. And like to this day, my dog says hello.
Hello.
To this day, those shirts still sell, and they're literally called like Halloween costume, but we're however many months from Halloween still selling. So
that's so funny.
Yeah, man, it's funny. You never know with those trendy things. Like they might just generate year-round sales.
So give it to me straight, Ryan. You said it's your wife's shop. Does she post stuff in it, or is this your experimental zone?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both, let's be honest. She never really dove into merch as much as I was hoping she would, so I definitely assisted with that. You know how it is.
It's your playground, yeah.
Joanne asked, this is actually something I was wondering. Like, you said editable. I'm sure there's different ways to go about it. I'm guessing the best way forward is the path of least resistance. Do you have any opinions on, like, are you sharing a Google Doc? Is it Canva? Is it something else?
For me, it depends on the product, but a lot of them are Canva templates. And Canva now, within the past year and a half or so, before you used to have Canva Pro if you wanted to share it's called a template link, where you can share the link to someone. It doesn't actually edit your original design, so it's not like someone's going to screw up the thing that you spent so long creating. You share a template link, they can click use this template, and then they can go and edit that thing. So that's one way I do it. And especially with a little bit more sophisticated printables, like I do a lot of B2B type printables, like I'm selling planners and I'm selling things to other entrepreneurs, like a media kit. For that, I'm using a Canva template. When it's something extremely simple and the person on the other end of the transaction, the buyer, isn't really a sophisticated buyer, maybe it's something very easy that they have to change. For example, I think actually the cupcake toppers that I have a version where I use a program called Cordial. It's Corjl. And with that, you don't need an account. So the reason I'm saying this is the person who's just like exchanging one word out on this editable printable, they might not be a sophisticated buyer, and they go and buy my thing. They're like, oh, I have to sign up for this thing called Canva. What's that? Like, I don't have a Canva account. This is so confusing to me. So you don't want there to be any friction in delivering the product. So that's why I'm saying it depends. It sounds like some legalese, but it really does. It depends on the product that I'm selling, because if it's a very simple like B2C transaction where like it's a cupcake topper and they're literally changing out the words from like congrats to cheers to happy 4th or whatever they want to write on that thing, I'll probably use Cordial, that program, Corjl. But if it's something slightly more complicated where there's a little bit more editability, I'll use Canva, because Canva is just much better in terms of like the aesthetic and how much you can customize the design. Cordial is just, I mostly use Cordial if you're just exchanging out like a line of text or two.
Yeah, you're an advanced user. Don't scare people away thinking that they need to use some software called Cordial that no one's ever heard of before.
All right. Well, I'm just saying it does make it easy for the end consumer. But yeah,
no, we appreciate the insights. I was just making a joke. Some people are probably like, wait, so I need to learn this software in order to sell and be successful?
No. No. But I'm just keeping it real. That's what I do personally.
Nice. No, I was gonna say, like, I I have sold some. I haven't done like made a huge point of offering a lot of printables, but like even in just how to deliver the link was sometimes an issue. Like if it's a .txt file, you would think that like every operating system can natively open that file, but there'd be people that are like, what is this file? I don't know how to open it. So then you do PDF and it's like same thing somehow. I don't know.
It's wild. Yeah, I have now delivered. So let's get tactical, because I'm sure there's some people watching that are like, well, how do you do all this stuff? Like, how do you actually deliver a link from Canva? So what I do is I like have a PDF that I deliver. That's the deliverable in my shop. So if someone buys the digital file, it's a PDF, and on the PDF, like it's big, like here's your template, and it's a button link, and they click on the button link, and it just brings them straight to Canva. And on that page, I took the liberty to do a little
It's a
self-marketing. Yes, it's literally a big button in the center of a PDF. It says like access your template.
Nice.
But on that PDF, it's like I have my shop logo. I have like links to like here's some more products you might enjoy, or I have like a little 5-star review at the bottom. I made this like really nice looking PDF that's kind of little self promo as well, but it's also crystal clear. Like instead of I used to just send a TXT file and people would be like, "What's this? I don't get it. This isn't a link." It's like, okay, so I went the PDF route. Now all of my editable deliverable links are via PDF with a fat button right in the middle that says access your templates here. And that's helped.
Dude, that alone is like a huge tip. It may sound so silly, but like once you've dealt with it enough, love that. We had a question from John. So if everyone is selling the same or theoretically very similar printables, what sort of alpha can you share about making them click us and not our competitors?
Okay, this is a great question, John, and I love answering this question. So let me zoom out a little bit and talk about keywords. And I know we've talked about this before, Ryan, but I'm a huge fan of long tail keywords. So let's go back to Father's Day. I like using this example. There's just so many things you can make. So an example of like a short tail keyword is just, it's a product that doesn't have that many words to describe it. So in this example, Father's Day card, it's 3 words. It's kind of very generic. Like there's so many different types of Father's Day cards that can go under the umbrella of Father's Day cards. You nest down one layer. You could do a first Father's Day card. You could do second Father's Day card. You could do new Father's Day card. Like there's all these additional adjectives you can add basically to the beginning of that short tail keyword to then make it a longer tail keyword. Now you can nest down another layer. You could do golf first Father's Day gift card. You could do football first Father's Day card. You could do tennis first Father's Day card. Like you can see that you can just keep nesting down and down and down. And obviously, as you keep nesting down, the search volume gets lower and lower and lower. And you don't want to be creating products that have 0 search volume. But I'll go and I'll use keyword research tools like eRank, Everbee, Marmalade. It's a million of them out there. I know you have some other ones that you use for Amazon, Ryan. But I'll go and look at these keyword research tools. And if there's like even 20 to 50 searches a month, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go after this product. If I see that there's like 30, 40 searches for this product and nobody else is creating this hyper niche specific thing. And again, going through the just iterations of like going from a short tail keyword, like 3 words to a 5-word or 6-word thing, there are thousands and thousands of different variations that you could do for that. Like I was just using sports as an example. Even with just sports first Father's Day card, there's like 25 printable ideas you could have right there. So that's why when you're like, is everyone selling the same printables? Yeah, there might be 50,000 people selling Father's Day cards. But if you can get a little bit more creative than the person just saying Happy Father's Day on a card, and you can kind of nest down and get some of those longer tail keywords, like you can start to scoop up a lot of the traffic that other people aren't even touching. So that's been my strategy, is like, similar to Ryan, I don't need one gangbusters product. I need a couple products making a couple sales per month. And it's a snowball. You have, you're making $5 here, $5 there. All of a sudden it turns into hundreds. It turns into thousands of dollars per month once you have this army of products in your Etsy shop and other shops as well.
Yeah, man, you're starting to sound like me. That's what I was saying when I do the fringe evergreens. And an overlooked potentially benefit of doing those things too is that you're so much less likely to be copied, because people would rather copy a product that's going to do like 10x the sales, easily project to do 10x the sales, than a product that sells like, I mean, once a year is what I say. Of course, they can sell more than once a year, but if they sell once a year, I'm happy. That's kind of how I frame it,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's probably the reason why we sound so similar is because it works. You know what I mean? It's not like we're just pulling this out of thin air. This stuff works. This is how I'm making money selling digital products. This sounds like it's also working for you. So yeah, that's what I would say, John. To get real tactical though, like if you're like, okay, I get that I want to create this product. Maybe there are competitors out there. The 2 things, like the 2 gatekeepers to making sales, is your title and your listing image. I like to say that like your listing image is literally the gatekeeper to people clicking on that thing and buying it. If you have a crappy title, if you have a crappy listing image, even if you have the best product in the world with the most beautiful written description and images 2 through 10 are amazing and the tags are perfect, everything about your product is awesome except the title and listing image suck, nobody's going to click on it and nobody's going to buy it. So like keep all the things I just said in mind about the long tail versus short tail keywords, but also like when you go and actually create that product, make sure you have a descriptive title that is exactly what the thing is. Like if you're going to make the golf first Father's Day card, don't just write something random. Like make sure that your title literally says golf first Father's Day card. That's the first 5 words in the title, because Etsy cuts off actually. So you'll only be able to display like 4 or 5 words anyway. And then make sure that listing description, that listing image is dead on exactly what it is. Like you don't want something confusing. You don't want like a picture of a dad golfing as the listing. You want to make sure that like it's crystal clear what this thing is. This is a printable card that you're going to deliver to some dad who's a dad for the first time who loves golf. Like it is extremely apparent what this product is. So those are my 2 like real tactical tips when it comes to actually listing that product if you want to be competitive amongst the crowd.
Yep. And that's one of the like, oh man, just understanding that it's when you create a quality product, it's all of the things that Cody talked about of like researching, looking at search volume. So you sell something people actually want to buy, right? But it's really keywords first and foremost. Like what are they typing into the search bar? And then it's like meeting their expectation and conveying to them because people are presented with like 50 products all at once and they're scanning with their peripheral in like fractions of a second, but doing your best to convey in that fraction of a second out of the corner of their eye that, hey, like I actually have what you want based on what you typed in the search bar.
Another pro tip to stand out, John, is include a listing video. There's actually a lot of software that can just make it animated now. And so if you're scrolling, like you can do this on your phone or on your computer or whatever, if you're scrolling on the Etsy, whatever Etsy search page you're on, like let's say you type in Father's Day card, the ones that have videos, like as you're scrolling over them, as your mouse or your cursor is over them, it'll actually show the video. And it's just like an extra little thing that like you might just grab that person's attention. Where if you don't have that and it's just a static image, like they might just keep scrolling over you. So anything you can do to get that extra 1% edge, because that's what it is at the end of the day. People think they have to have like some groundbreaking new product. Like that's kind of the fallacy of entrepreneurship, is people think they have to like invent the next big thing, or they have to have the next super smart idea. Like they have to, whether it's POD or printables, they think they have to reinvent the wheel. It's like not at all. You just got to look at the data, create something that's 1% better than the competitors, and then all of a sudden you're taking all those sales. It's like what's that show where you like guess the name of the product or you guess the price? Oh, the Price is Right.
Price is Right.
Yeah, Price is Right. Or it's like 1,500 and the person's like 1,501, and then it ends up being anything over 1,500, they win. It's like the same thing here. Is like if you are 1% better than your competitors, like you're going to scoop up a ton of those sales. All you have to do
might take time. Like it might take time if you are 1% better, like, but they were there before you. They've got the incumbent sales. The algorithm's going to favor them at least initially. The reviews also help them more than they're going to hurt you and help them, right? The reviews you don't have versus what they do have, but like you seriously do win over time as long as you do this stuff to a high degree. And one thing we didn't mention is like, if we're talking printables, like there's different ways to approach it, but in the idea of like a card, well, you can templatize your listings, right? Like you can templatize how you generate the images, how you generate the videos. And that way you can like put in a lot of time and effort into making a really high quality product and reuse it. So you get your money's worth, out of the time you invested.
Yeah. So one thing that I did, I love that you mentioned that actually, is I had these like coupons go gangbusters for Valentine's Day one year. So guess what I did? I made those same exact coupons with the same exact listing images for every freaking holiday that there was throughout the entire year. At the end of this this burst where I was just like, okay, I'm just going to create as many as I possibly can with the same exact design, with like the same exact everything. Obviously, just the holiday, the event was different, and I would update the description and listing images accordingly. But at the end of that, I had like 25 products or 30 products using the same core design. And a lot of them actually did really, really well because we already had the proof in the pudding that original design worked. So to Ryan's point, you get a card that does really well. All of a sudden, you can just go and make a million different versions of that card for every other niche, every other holiday, every other long tail keyword that you can think of. So it's like, I love to double down on what's working. I always tell people that. It's like, people are like, oh, should I run Etsy ads right from the beginning? It's like, not necessarily, but if you have something that does really well, hammer that thing with Etsy ads. Like, I've 5x my profit during a given holiday by just running as much ad spend as Etsy will allow me when that thing is profitable. So once something starts working, like double down in every way that you can. Use it as a template, run ads to it, like bundle
Yes.
it with other stuff. Just really
Dude, you're killing it right
capitalize.
now, man. You're killing it right now. Like seriously, take notes, people. Etsy doesn't want to serve ads that don't get clicked. They don't get paid if it doesn't get clicked. If you're getting clicks and it converts, Etsy gets paid for the click and the sale. So like he just said, like double down, like triple down on things that work. Plus you have that data, leverage it. Back to the questions real quick.
All right.
Sophia asked about pricing. What is a realistic price to sell for? How do you determine? Any tips there?
Yeah. So printables range from $1 to, I've seen printables as high as $99 for like a really extravagant wedding bundle. It was like all the stationery for a wedding, like literally everything from
the magic word, the W word.
Yeah, the W word.
10x your price.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And it was actually selling. It was someone who was a part of our community. She was just killing it. So yeah, so anywhere from 1 to 99. So you're like, okay, what do I do with that information? So what I do whenever I'm creating something new is I go and look at the competition. And what I don't want to be is I don't want to be the lowest price. I don't want to be the bargain bin, but I also don't want to be like pricing myself out of making sales. I'm usually like, especially when I list a new product, somewhere in the middle of the pack, maybe slightly lower than the median. And I'll hopefully drum up some sales. And once I start to get some sales, once that product has a couple reviews, then maybe I'll bump the price up by like 50 cents or $1. Well, I honestly am just like, I love playing with the data. And so if I see like when I bump the price up on something and it's not converting, I'll move it back down, vice versa. Like I'll kind of see how high I can get a product in terms of price and still get it to convert. So it's really just all about A/B testing and figuring that out. But use your competitors as a guideline. Like you don't want to be the person who's charging $2 if everyone else is charging 10. You also don't want to be the person charging 10 if everyone else is charging 2. The reason why I don't like to price too low is perceived value. Like if you have, let's just use a product in my shop. I have like a financial planner. It's like a 30-page financial planner. If I were to sell that for 99 cents, someone going on is going to be like, is this really quality product? Like, why are they selling it for 99 cents? This is probably crap. I'm going to buy this $10 one because it's probably way better quality. It's like if you go into a store and you're going to buy like a $1 pair of boots or a $50 pair of boots, you're just going to assume the $50 pair is much higher quality. Like I personally probably wouldn't even touch those $1 boots. I'm like, what's the catch? These things are going to fall off my feet the second I put them on. So it's like kind of the same thing. Like you don't want to be priced so low that people are skeptical and think that your product quality is bad.
Yeah, I love that, man. I just recorded a video that I'll release later this week, and that was one of the examples talking about how like
Boots?
Sometimes not boots. It was the example was a baby onesie, but it was like it had embroidery, and it was just like you can bump the price $10 by paying like $2 extra to your production partner to do embroidery. And it's like it's just that perception of value, you know what I mean? And you're a little bit different, you know. So I love that as an example. And also you were saying you do like seasonal. If you actually are looking at competitors and repricing actively, like if you're doing seasonal stuff, at least you know where to focus your attention. Because if you have 1,000 evergreen products, like how do you decide what to look at that day and see if you need to update the price? Yeah.
The seasonal thing helps a lot. It's like, okay, this is July's coming up. Let me look at all of my hot July products and see where I can change things. Do I need to tweak anything? Or why is this product not getting any views? Yada, yada, yada. And just, again, I'm looking at the data. It sounds like we're pretty like-minded, Ryan.
Yep. Yeah. Family reunion month, July, right? So get on that. Joanne said, do you sell printable art? And do you have any recommendations on ratios of offerings?
I'm definitely not the right person to ask this. I'm not a graphic designer by trade, and therefore I've stayed mostly away from printable art. I do sell some wall art, and I have it in just all the standard sizes. It's like 5x7. There's like 10x14, 8x10. There's a bunch of other 4x6. I think I have it in like 6 sizes in my listings. But I just want to say this. I'm not a huge printable art seller. Like I'm much more prone to look for like certain keywords and make kind of like a more functional product, if that makes sense, rather than just a printable wall art. Wall art's not my jam. But if you're an awesome graphic designer, like if you're sick on InDesign or Photoshop or Illustrator or Procreate, and you can just make the killer wall art that people are going to love, go for it. That's just not me. I'm a guy with no graphic design background who taught myself some mediocre. I'm like a 5 or 6 out of 10 graphic designer. Maybe that's generous, but I'm not a good graphic designer, and I still make digital product sales. So you don't have to be the best graphic designer ever.
Yeah, maybe something like I was trying to pull up like
that's a lot, but
pull up Printful. Yeah, this is a lot, but at least you have an idea of like what people may be looking for, based on what's out there for the production partners, just as a thought. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's easy to add them in, like with Etsy, you can't just click and that'd be awesome. And I'm sure with AI, like we're gonna be able to do this, just like kind of one click, perfectly resize this image to everything. But as of right now, that doesn't exist. It's not perfect. Even with like Magic Resize and Canva and all these other tools, it's like you still gotta kind of mess with it and jig it around a little bit to make everything look perfect. So I would only offer like the five most standard sizes for wall art. I don't think you need to offer 20 like in that example, but you can if you want to go crazy. But it's like
there's some legit artists
Yeah.
like Marielle has like a couple paintings she just got like this year from a specific artist that we're gonna take with us to our new house, and like the artist is on Etsy selling like the prints. So we have like the one of one physical, but like anybody can grab the same exact like design. They just have to get it on, a printful poster or something like that. So I guess like, if you're a real artist, go do your homework. That would be super cool. You have an edge if you can create some original art.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's some people in our community who are like wizards on Procreate, and they create a bunch of wall art and SVGs and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, that would be nice. I just don't have that skill. So I'll let the art people do their thing. I'll do my thing. I'll do the seasonal printables.
Cool. Tracy said, what percentage of your printable listings are editable? I love that question.
That's a really good question. I don't have hard data off the top of my head. I'm going to guess around 50%, maybe a little bit less, maybe 40.
That would have been revealing though if you were like 90%. You know what I mean?
No, it's about half and half. Yeah. It's probably about half and half.
Okay. Good question
though. Now I'm gonna go and have to look, but it's gonna be a.
It is 90%. He just doesn't want to tell us.
No.
Jane does do original art. Might go into some pre-made, like that. And if you do art, like, I guess if you set a digital listing, you can't sell it as POD. But if you list it as POD, you could sell
an original art as an SVG to sell to POD sellers.
Yeah. I was thinking in one listing too. You know how some people offer the digital in it, but I guess you have to fulfill that manually, right? Yeah. The nice thing about if you sell a digital file on Etsy is automatic, fulfilled, no issues with, production or late shipments or lost shipments, which I mean, Etsy just has been known to grill people for. So as an illustrator, I struggle with the printables with best practices to discourage theft. Another good question. Any tips there?
So, unfortunately, people are going to copy you sometimes, and you can send cease and desist. I just want to set the precedent up front. Like, it's going to happen. What's good about it, though, and it's actually something you mentioned before, Ryan, is the copycat very rarely, I've actually never seen this happen, rarely takes down the person who originally did it, because Etsy knows, like if Ryan posted something in his shop last week and I go and make that exact same thing, I mean, he can send me a bunch of cease and desist and stuff, and usually that does work, and Etsy will actually take down the copycats listing if you kind of reach out to support. But even if not, like my stuff is not going to outrank Ryan's. If I'm literally putting the same exact thing, the same exact listing with the same exact title and description, it's very, very unlikely. It's almost impossible. Like Etsy actually favors the kind of the original. They kind of give you a little bit of copyright by being the first to market with that product. So even if I post the exact same thing as Ryan, like he's going to beat me with sales of that product because he was the first one to post it on there. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like I know a lot of other people are like, oh man, like I'm scared to post on Etsy because people are going to copy me. And that's just, it's an inevitability of doing online business. Like, and you can do all these cease and desist and stuff, but let me tell you, like I have had a ton of people copy me. I've done the cease and desist thing. I've gone through Etsy. I'm still making sales. Like, don't let that hold you back. Like it's going to suck. It's annoying, whatever. But like, if you're an illustrator and you can create some of these awesome designs, and just go for it, man. Like the people who are copying you, they're never gonna get ahead of the original artist who's doing it.
Do you ever think about how much you are losing though to people that like copy you? Because like I do on occasion think of like how many products I would have that were like mainstays, bestsellers, just you could bank on them selling, and then it just disappears. And I kind of just assume why it disappeared. Somebody probably literally just cloned it and undercut me or something. Like it's probably like 20-30% of sales at least that just are just gone, you know.
It's hard.
Me, I mean, I would estimate.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit different, but it's hard to quantify too, right? It's like there's no way you can actually pull real data for that. But I mean, yes, of course there's going to be some things, but it's like, dude, you're still. I've been seeing the articles coming out about you. Like, even though there's a ton of people copying you, I'm sure you're very public about what you do, which is super helpful and like inspiring other people to start POD and selling printables and other digital stuff online, but like you're still making tens of thousands of dollars a month, regardless of the, who knows, a couple dozens of people who are probably copying your stuff. Like, so yeah, don't worry about the copycats. Like, don't let them slow you down. Just do your thing and it'll work out.
And can I ask on this topic?
Sure.
So you do offer through Gold City Ventures a course on like the full step-by-step hand holding, how to do it start to finish. Link in the description, of course. But like in my courses, like I kind of show you how I went from starting not knowing anything, very manual process, facing a massive learning curve, not being good at design, but figuring out how to be good enough, leveraging automation tools and stuff like that, like evolving the process over time. Like, is it similar behind the doors of your course, the best practices, the streamlined workflows, stuff like that, that people can look forward to?
Yeah, we don't gatekeep anything. It's like literally everything that we've learned and what works for us. And we have, like you said, iterated over and every single year. Like when there's new stuff that comes out, a new tool will come out. We're like, oh man, then we're going to go and, update the course a bunch, but it just makes it better. And it's been pretty crazy because I'm sure you see this all the time. People will be like, I don't want to start this side hustle. Isn't it so saturated? But what we've seen, and what I'm sure what you've seen in your community and your course, is as you've gotten better at teaching and you've been able to distill the methods and kind of get the person from A to B faster than when you first started, like we are seeing wins faster than we've ever seen them before in 2024. And everyone's like, oh, there's so many more sellers now. It's like, well, there's also a lot more buyers. And like when you have someone who's just teaching you the exact process, like no fluff, kind of skipping all the mistakes, like you can just blow up. Like the people I was just talking about who went from 5 sales to like 270 sales over the Father's Day weekend, just following the stuff that we had taught her, just literally going step by step, lesson by lesson through the course. So yeah, to answer your question, it's A to Z. It's everything you could possibly want as someone who has zero experience selling printables, to creating, brainstorming, listing your first printables, making your first sales, getting better at marketing, streamlining, creating processes and automations and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And like, it's like you probably, like I always like to say, you typically don't need a course to succeed, but the danger to any business is like quitting. And, sometimes it might make sense too, but like other times it's like somebody may have everything it takes to be successful, but give up because they couldn't solve one aspect that was easily solvable. You know what I mean? That's like where it can be kind of criminal to give up on something that works, that had the potential to make you some money.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say is, because I used to be a DIYer, I was like, oh, I don't want to learn like in a course or in any kind of setting like that. Like the people who are good course creators are creating a course where you're going to go and if you follow all the steps, like you're going to be successful, or you're going to at least have a really high likelihood of success at the end of that course. Like you can go the DIY route. I'm not like you said, Ryan, I'm totally not refuting that. But like before, I would go the DIY route and I'd spend 12 hours trying to learn something. I'd be like going through a rabbit hole of YouTube videos in Google, and I might have just been able to pay someone a little bit of money and done it in 10 minutes. That's happened to me so many times. Like I invest in real estate too. I remember when we bought our first property, I tried like fixing the plumbing under one of the sinks in our rental properties. It took me 6 hours.
Yeah,
you're
brave.
It was still leaking. So I called the plumber over and he's like, you have the wrong part. And he spent about 10 minutes and fixed it. So I was like, what am I doing? I just spent 6 hours DIYing this. Great learning lessons. I watched a million YouTube videos, but it's the same thing with anything. Like you can go the DIY route. It's going to take you longer. Like pretty much everything is free online now. Like you can learn almost anything through Google and YouTube. But if you want like the accelerated version, that's why Ryan has a course. That's why I have a course. That's why people who have done the thing. That's why I like when people who have success go and kind of just teach other people that thing. Kind of, it's a gift that keeps on giving. Like just tell people how you did it, because it's kind of cool to figure out something that works for you and then being able to share that and see other people replicate your success is a pretty rewarding.
Yeah, and sometimes you just got to go for it. Like probably the first plumber to ever launch a YouTube channel, probably retired a multimillionaire from all the ad revenue from AdSense. It's like you never know until you try.
You never know. But yeah, man, we got it all. Anyone who wants to learn printables.
So Joanne said, any suggestions for creating videos?
Oh, okay. Speaking of videos, what products do you like? It depends. You can do like what's called like UGC, like user generated content type videos, where you actually go and print out your printables on your home printer, and you can you can use your iPhone, honestly, just get decent lighting, use your iPhone, like show people what the thing's all about. You can do that. You can also just create like a little animation in Canva, and Canva makes it super easy now, where your printable could just like pop up on the screen and shake. And like I said, all it has to do is attract the attention of the person scrolling on the search screen for 2 seconds, and that could be a potential sale. So yeah, those are the only ways I do it. honestly, is like with my iPhone, I've done some UGC videos, user generated content, and I've also done some like just Canva animated videos as well. It's a little bit
Nice.
different, I'd say, than like a POD thing where like maybe you don't want like a model. Like, I don't know, is that a big thing? Are there like model videos that like does like Printful and Printify, do they give you
Dude,
videos?
there's everything, man.
Yeah.
There's everything these days. So you can find whatever you're looking for. I just think like whatever you do should just be streamlined. I like this
Yeah.
software called My Designs because like
Yeah.
it can literally do it for you in bulk up to 120 at a time. Do the videos. So I mean, for me, that's what I prefer because then I'll publish through them and yeah.
Makes sense.
Any recommendations like AI image generators that are better at text, like ideogram or anything? They're all getting better.
Yeah, they're getting better. They're not perfect. I mean, I played around with Midjourney, but like for me, honestly, the listing images that I've created and kind of honed over time, like I'll like kind of what you were saying, like templatizing stuff. I have reused a lot of the same listing images over and over, and they're better than what the AI can make right now. Like I've really done some experimentation with Midjourney specifically and DALL-E 2. For printables, yeah, they're just quite not there. Like sometimes it doesn't look quite real, or like maybe they'll mess up one of the words on the printable itself. It's not perfect yet.
Yeah. So does that answer Tracy's question as well about just like AI integrated into your printables?
So in the printables, like here's how I use AI in my process. I use AI to brainstorm. So like in the examples I was given before, long tail versus short tail keywords, I'll have ChatGPT just generate like 100 different long tail keyword ideas for like a first Father's Day or a Father's Day card. Or I'll use AI to like help me write a description, or I'll use AI to generate like some of the 13 tags for Etsy. So I'll use AI for a lot of like the written stuff, but when it comes to the actual images and graphics, as of right now, not huge. And again, I've done a lot of experimentation. I know some people who are doing well, like creating SVGs and wall art and stuff using AI. I'm just, like I said, I'm not like an art guy. I'm more like a functional printables guy. So if you ask like a wall art seller or like someone who's creating a ton of SVGs, they might be using AI all the time, Midjourney or DALL-E to create all this stuff. But for me, not really. The image side, like the actual graphic design part, I'm not using AI very much at all.
Yeah, and when you go down that rabbit hole, it's like, I don't know. I know I'm not alone. You'll find shops that are just significantly outperforming every other shop, but selling basically the same stuff that everybody else has. And I'm just like, what is going on that this shop is that much better than everybody else? Because you know how it is. I mean, it's sad, but like people will just literally steal their stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
it's sad, but like you'll just see some shops that are just black holes. Every sale goes through that shop, you know? And I'm just like, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, there's some shops that kind of drive like phantom traffic. Like there's a lot of people who are like driving organic SEO or maybe like through Pinterest, and they're just going gangbusters. And like,
there you go.
That's why. So you see someone who, Pinterest is actually a really good example, more than organic SEO that I see anyway. But someone just might be killing it on Pinterest. They're getting millions of monthly impressions, and so all the sales are just funneling to their shop for whatever niche they might be dominating.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just messaging with somebody who like sent me this merch t-shirt that's in the top 10 that makes no sense. And I was just like thinking back to maybe 6 years ago when Shane Dawson, like a huge YouTuber, would have like one t-shirt on Amazon merch, just one. And it was literally always the number one best-selling shirt.
Oh my
God. And until I found out who he was, I had absolutely no clue why the little pig shirt with the text was so popular. It's like, so you never know. Sometimes it is just like some big social media personality just driving traffic, and that's all it takes.
Don't get discouraged. Yeah, you never know the backstory.
Yeah, until you see he's got like 10 million subscribers, and it all starts making sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Generally speaking, like a general pricing strategy that you could share.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this before, but usually I'm like middle of the road when I first list it. It's like slightly under the median price, and then I'll start, if it starts to make sales, I'll start to bump it up, and kind of I like to test my limits. Like how can I push this thing where it's still converting at a decent percentage?
Got you. Any tips for Etsy ads per like dollars per day in terms of the spend?
So I am actually not a huge fan unless you are like, this is the best product. You have a lot of confidence in your product, and it's like a seasonal thing is coming up, and you just want to get as many eyeballs in that thing, especially if it's in a more competitive niche. Then you can start to experiment with ads. But I'm not a huge fan of running ads to products that haven't proved themselves before, meaning that they've never got an organic sale. Because what Etsy does for me, and for like what we've noticed with myself and a lot of our students, is when you first list something, like Etsy will kind of like test you out. It's almost like, is this product good or not? And so you might just like show up on a way higher page than you deserve, even if you're in a pretty saturated niche. Like if you're just making a regular Father's Day card, like we've seen people show up with a new shop on page 1 just because Etsy is like testing them out. And they'll test them out maybe for a week or so, and then if you don't make any sales, if you don't get enough views, they'll push you back where you belong, on page 3, 4, or 5. But the reason I'm mentioning that is, so if your product isn't really getting any traction, it's not getting any views, like don't waste your money and spend a bunch of, don't waste your ad spend on a product that's not converting, that people don't want. Well, then you're just gonna be pouring money down the drain for a really low ROAS, return on ad spend. So I'm a huge fan of, like, I know I said it before, doubling down on what works. And if you have a product that like someone's already buying, it's like, okay, at least one person is interested in this product, which means that other people will probably be interested as well. And then you can start pushing ad spend and kind of seeing how I always look back, like every week, I'm like, okay, what's my return on ad spend? That's that ROAS number, and making sure that it's over 1.0.
Yeah, man, I see things like very similarly. And everybody has different approaches to advertising. I don't know if there's a single correct way, but I'm always just like, if it's not working great on something, it's not just that it's not working, but I'm like, I could have taken that money and put it in the products that work and made like a lot more, you know what I mean? And that's what always irks me, is I just want to like move it from here to there and just go really hard on what works,
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to make money, right?
It is. Yeah, but you know how easy it is to like not do, you know what I mean?
It's much easier giving advice than taking your own advice.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's seriously, like, I can't take my own advice as well as I can give it. It's super weird.
I know. It's like, I think we're similar in that, like, I always want to try new stuff, and I'm like, I know what I should be doing. It's like, I should just literally just keep doubling down on exactly what's working. But like, there's just there's the devil on my shoulder that just wants to try new stuff. And I'm like, oh, look at this new cool, like, AI tool, or look at this new product that I found. Like, this could be gangbusters. And I'm like, I should probably just keep on hitting the basics over and over again.
Yep. It's like you build, you build momentum, and then you start to deviate, and it's like, no, get back on the path.
Yeah.
They said, can you explain what the customers print these products on? That is a good question for people like me, because I've never been really a crafter, not since I was like 10 years old.
For most of my products, yeah. For most of my products, people are just printing on regular computer paper. If it is a more sophisticated product, especially like something like in the wedding niche, someone's going to want to have like eggshell, like really nice stationery that they're probably going to go to like Staples or Walmart to print it out. So on my more sophisticated products that need a little higher printing quality, I'll put printing instructions actually in the listing description. And so I'll be like, you can go to Walmart, Staples, or blah, blah, blah. Like, here's the type of paper you should use. But for a lot of my stuff, it's just regular printer paper. A lot of it's just like a lot of my stuff is like gifts, and it's holiday stuff. So it's like these people are usually printing them out very last minute. Like I shared this funny story where I had this editable letter from Santa, and I had like 25 sales on Christmas morning from parents just waking up at 4 a.m. scrambling, typing up something as fast as they can muster. They bought my printable, and then they print it out as fast as they can. So yeah, a lot of my stuff is just like, I want to call it throwaway products. That's like dissing myself, but it's like, it's not that serious. If you catch my drift, like it's a $5 printable.
Dude, that's a hilarious story though, because it's so easy to like put yourself in their shoes. If you had their address, you could like blackmail them, be like, hey, I'm gonna tell your kids what you did. Like, I saw the timestamp on that order. All right, a couple more questions. Get your questions in before we wrap up. And thank you guys so much for coming on a Monday night, by the way.
This is awesome. People are asking great questions. So you got a good community here.
So do you have any alternatives to Etsy if it's not available in their country?
Great question. Shopify is always a really popular one, and that's one that I sell on as well. Depending what you sell, I'm just mentioning this because I don't know about your audience, but in our audience, there are a lot of like teachers and people in educational roles. There's a company or a website called Teachers Pay Teachers, TPT. And if you have anything educational printables, like we have some people who make a killing on that site. Those are two. If you want to sell directly through your website, there's like plugins like WooCommerce. You can also do Shopify through your website. You can even sell printables on Amazon. I know. Do you sell any printables, like strict digital files on Amazon, Ryan? Or are you mostly just
I've never tried, man. I've never tried.
I actually haven't either. I haven't dove into that's a whole nother beast. I've kind of stuck within my area of expertise, but I know some people that do moderately well. It's not as much like single page printables. A lot of people, it's like ebooks and stuff. Like if you have like a planner or like a multi-page thing, those do okay on Amazon. But like
they had a program called Amazon Ignite, and they closed it down after a year. It was their attempt at like copying Teachers Pay Teachers, but for once Amazon couldn't win,
Yeah, finally someone put them in their place.
Beat them.
Yeah, but yeah, those are a couple of pretty good places, Saeed.
Cool. I want to put my art on t-shirts. Mockups have me a bit stumped. Should I buy them and add to Canva and Kindle, put designs? Yeah, I mean, for t-shirts,
This
there's
is
so
your
many ways
domain,
to go
Ryan.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, it's like all that matters is the output. You know what I mean? So however you reach that is up to you, and whatever works best for you is what you should do. You could use Microsoft Paint. You know what I mean? I wouldn't recommend it, but like you could do it
You can.
theoretically.
Yeah.
They all at the end of the day, you export it as a bitmap image, a JPEG or a PNG, and then you push that as your mockup. So what you mentioned, Canva, Kittle, like those would both work. And there's so many good mockup generators these days.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
hard
go
to go
wrong.
wrong. You know, I think like maybe just where you can separate yourself is look at the niche and see what's popular in each niche, because each niche is different. Couple more questions. Tracy said, do you mainly do cards, invitations, planners, stickers, etc.? Like, are you optimizing for specific things?
I actually am a dabbler, and I probably maybe should just stick to. It's kind of like what I was saying before. It's like maybe I should just double down on like what's selling the most. All the above, Tracy. I sell all the things you're mentioning. I also sell like printable games. I sell like cards, invitation planners, stickers, yeah, trackers. I sell like I sell like a lot of B2B stuff too that I use in my personal life, because I'm not just like an Etsy seller. I'm kind of an entrepreneur of all these different disciplines. Like I have a podcast, I've got a blog. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. So like anything that I use in my business, I'll then just turn that into a product and sell it on Etsy. So I know one I mentioned earlier was like, we have like a really good podcast media kit that we put together to send to sponsors. It's like a 5-page media kit. It's like baller. Like we spent so much time on it. So I basically went and made a template version of that, sold out my shop. So for the stuff that's not like B2C, my B2B stuff, it's that, like there's a lot of like Canva templates and things like that I sell.
Yeah, man, that's a great just in general too. That's a great mindset. Like you gave an actual.
I'm like, did you just write down media kit? I saw you
yeah, no.
it.
I was trying to type a response, but I do love that it's one of those mindset things where it's like once you do it once, now you think that way moving forward, and you just saved a bunch of people that mistake or that, you know, delay. It's like, hey, I just made this digital product that I needed that's going to make me a bunch of money. How much would people pay for this if I templatized it? Then you go list it for sale. You've already done the work and you're getting paid extra on top of however much money the media kit's making you for your podcast. I mean, I love that.
That's why I always tell, and you get a whole bunch of these people probably watching right now, the POD people, like sell those SVGs. If you don't mind other people selling those, like on other things, and maybe you're not selling, maybe you're just doing t-shirts and hats right now, and you're not doing mugs and tote bags, but you have cool designs, like, my God, sell the SVGs. Like it's passive income. Even if it's a couple bucks, even if you're only selling a couple of those SVGs per day, like it adds up. It can quickly become a multi-$100,000, multi-$1,000 side hustle, just selling the designs that you already created for the POD products that you're selling. So yeah,
I need to be listing bundles, man. I need to be listing design bundles. I really do. I don't know why I haven't been doing it. I have actually been selling like I haven't really marketed it, but I have been selling like design bundles to people that like when it makes contextual sense, I know they can use it, I'll offer it, but maybe I should do something on Etsy.
Hire a VA, have them organize all your stuff, and then start listing those SVG bundles.
All right, I think it's the last question. Then we'll wrap. Oh no, that's replay. Whoops, got pushed up. Joanne said, "What would a mock-up look like for your Santa letter?" They're trying to find your listing.
So yeah, with the Santa letter, I mean the mock-up literally for most of my printable stuff, it's just like a pretty plain background. You want the printable to be as clear as possible. You don't want to have like all these kind of extra elements and random like images on the page and icons. Like you want the printable to be clear. I think for my Santa one, it's just like there's maybe some like tinsel or like some like an ornament or something in the corners, so like you can kind of tell it's Christmas, but it's honestly just like on like an off-white background, so you can very clearly see what the thing is. And I'm pretty sure there's like a pencil with like that's like fake writing on it as well, so you kind of know that's like you're filling this in, even though it's computer editable.
So would you say it's mainly like the content that is selling it, but the background is kind of like checking the box that it is a Christmas letter because we have the Christmas elements kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time you just want your listing image to be really clear, and you want it to be eye-catching. So you don't want to pick like ugly colors either. Like you want it to be colors that stand out. Like maybe you have like some like bright, like a Christmas, you have like a bright red or something, saying like maybe adding like a little bubble with a bright red that says like some white words in it describing your product or something like that. But you don't want to overcomplicate it. Like I think it's the same thing with POD. Like you don't want to have some wild background that then detracts from the shirt that you're trying to sell. Like you want the shirt to be crystal clear. You want the printable to be crystal clear. It's kind of like what I was saying before. The listing image is the gatekeeper. If people don't know what the heck they're buying, they're just going to keep scrolling past it because this looks confusing and it's too much.
Yeah, great point. And okay, before we wrap, everybody, first of all, thank you for being here on a Monday night. I know it's been a long day. We really appreciate it. I wanted to briefly share the course page because I didn't know the doors locked tonight, and I apologize for that. I thought we had till tomorrow, and you know how like some people do the fake like countdown thing, but his isn't fake, so it's actually going to
No.
close tonight, and that's my
Yeah,
fault.
well, this is like a special thing for Ryan's audience, by the way. Like, we don't just like willy nilly have the course open. This opened last Tuesday. I know, Ryan, you had sent an email out about it on Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I apologize for not doing a good job of like making it clear.
it's all
That's
good. It's all good. We got a bunch of people watching now, so we can always do another one of these in the future. But yeah, this is just for Ryan's audience. This is available for the next 4 hours and change.
Yo,
So
you got to
yeah.
extend that to West Coast midnight at least.
We've always done East Coast midnight, but yeah, we probably, I don't know, we'll consider it.
You're doing the West Coast people dirty, man.
I guess so.
All right. Well, this is here. The link is in the description. I am going to email it out because even though I already sent an email, I feel bad sending too many emails in one day. But like, I feel bad also that I did not make it clear that it closed tonight. So I need to do that.
Well, appreciate you having me on, man. This is good. Hopefully people get some value out of the stuff we talked about today.
Yes. And thank you again, everybody that's here live. Cody, I appreciate your time, man. You're an expert at what you do. It's always good to connect with you. And, you know, outside the scope of what we talked about tonight, too, I know you're into other stuff that I'm interested in, too. So it'd be cool one day to like sit down and talk like investing and whatnot, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. We can do this many more times. This is like what, number 5 or 6 we've been on together.
Yeah, it's been a
back
few.
and forth.
I need to learn your story next, though, you know?
We'll do it, man. This is awesome. Thanks again for having me.
All right, guys, take care. Have a good night. And I'm going to email this out. If you're on my email list, keep an eye out for that. But thank you for being here.